So for this week's PD, my objective as an instructional leader would be obviously discussing place value. According to the scenario, only 20% of the students answered the place value exit ticket correctly, which is pretty alarming, seeing that it's a fifth grade class. Now, the reason why it's important to tackle this problem with a sense of urgency is because place value is the foundation for all of the other numerical operations that we will be learning the rest of the year. And of course, because we want our students to develop a numerical sense. This standard builds on the expectation from fourth grade. I went ahead and I looked at the vertical alignment. And in fourth grade, students are expected to interpret the value of each place value position as 10 times the position to the right or a 1/10 of the value of the place to its left. What makes this a little bit more tricky is that in fifth grade, students are expected to use expanded notation and numerals to represent and describe the values of the digits in decimals through the thousands. So now we're throwing decimals in the mix, and I have a feeling that this is where the fifth graders are struggling with. My PD would also focus on teachers collaborating with each other and kind of pick at each other's brains, because there's always, from what I've seen, there's always one teacher that really is great at teaching probably one particular TEK. So I would find out who's the expert teacher, and I would have teachers kind of collaborate and see what his or her strategies are, and kind of pick her brain or his brain a little bit. One of my goals as an instructional leader would also be to address the multimodal learning styles so that we can reteach this standard in a different variety of ways, not just the same way over and over again. I would provide my teachers with instructional videos that would cater to our visual and auditory learners, and I would also incorporate some kind of hands-on or physical activity for the kinesthetic learners, such as drawing a gigantic place value chart on the floor with painter's tape and then having the students move around in it given different values. Lastly, I would extend this PD to ensure that teachers understand the importance of having students practice not only in standard form, but also in the extended and most importantly, the word form, in order to really make place values sink in. I would advise teachers to, whenever their students are working on independent practice, to walk around and make the students say out loud the number, the name, the word form of the number, so that we can catch any misconceptions or we can catch any mistakes early on before, they get some kind of assessment. So that way we can do sort of like formative assessment before a big test. I would also remind teachers that like I said, to actively monitor students during practice opportunities, because that's the time that we're going to address any type of patterns of misunderstanding that our students are having, and therefore we can address it as they occur, and we don't have to wait until the very end. I would also encourage my teachers to model as much as they can, because I used to teach fourth grade math, and it really, even in fourth grade, they were struggling with math. And you think place value, it's easy, it's just naming digits, but for some of my students, it was very difficult. So the one thing that I could do to help them the most was to model as much as I could in a variety of different ways. I gave them plenty of opportunities to practice. And another thing is that I didn't move on to the next lesson or the next activity until I made sure that all of my students had place value very well learned. Okay, because that is always the basis. I would also encourage my teachers to use a grid paper because those are great. You can insert and remove the zeros, and that I think that the actual squares and the grid paper makes it very easy for students to kind of picture and to make sense of the digits in place value.